I'm sure I wasn't alone in my curiosity about Rose, but the potential future she would have in Resident Evil. Shadows of Rose provides a glimpse while giving closure to the Village chapter, along with the third-person mode for the main game, and Mercenaries content as additional orders. Is the DLC worth it? Well, it's complicated. Rose has long been ostracized for her powers, resigning herself to the belief of being a freak.
No, I am.
So when she's told of incomplete research, speaking of a crystal that could purge her of mutamycete, her powers, she jumps at the chance. But it'll involve jumping into a sample, or rather its memories, that only her powers can tap into. It functions like a hard drive, holding the data of everyone influenced by it. So if she could find the remainder of the research, she can become what she wants. Normal. She makes her descent, unaware that the world entered doesn't reflect reality as it was, affording creative freedom to Capcom to reimagine some of Village's environments for a fresh experience, and a chance to get to know Rose. From the outset, she's a likable character, pensive, and her reactions to the events around her genuine. You end up caring for her, making the heartfelt moments in-store effective, and the road to them is paved, but imperfect. As soon as we take control, it's evident something's amiss, and no time squandering getting to it. In making an escape, we meet an ally that will be helping us along our way, Michael, who lets us know that the only way out with what we came in for is by boosting our powers, that in turn grants us abilities to keep things interesting. Rose can't block like Ethan, but instead can clear areas enveloped in a black-red mass, and learn to slow down enemies nearly to a halt in combat. It works on charges, with one burst enough to affect those around the target. It's a cool idea, reminding me of stasis in Dead Space. And if you happen to be grabbed, she can employ a charge like you would a knife in Resident Evil 2 Remake. Enemies have some erratic movement to them, not to the degree of the lichens of the core game, enough though to happen on why they're referred to as face eaters. Truthfully, unless they're bundled together, you're better off timing their attacks to get past most of them. The same applies to a Mr. X-like enemy that is introduced, but not given much presence outside a certain setting. A cogent reason being that the campaign is a funneled experience. Once an area is conquered, you won't have reason to come back. You're always on a course from point A to B, the path forward linear. In fact, outside a boss, the other weapon Rose receives, the shotgun, never really saw use. This applies to both standard and hardcore playthroughs. What makes it more odd is the bulk of combat is front-loaded into Shadows of Rose, that outside the castle it doesn't really surface until the end. There isn't much puzzle solving either. It's evident that the focus is getting us acquainted with Rose, and seeing her come to accept herself, to keep that journey flowing. Honestly, I don't think it's a bad thing. It works, but I did expect more from the execution. If you play through Village, you know that the destination that follows is House Beneviento, the one with the mannequin and the beloved crying baby. Like Ethan's, this section is more focused on puzzles, and I have to compliment Capcom in making ingenious use of dolls to portray Rose's past, even if she doesn't like it on display.
Yeah, I get it. Fuck you.
It is my favorite part of the expansion that makes me smile with how assets were repurposed from the main game. What follows is a segment that feels out of place for the franchise, but makes sense in the context of the dreamlike world. All I'll say, if you play Little Nightmares 2, you're bound to have some flashbacks. There is more to Shadows of Rose beyond this place, but that final third will likely clock your completion time at 3 hours. From a story standpoint, the payoff is worthwhile, making the ending of Village all the more resonant, but for many it will be a one and done. I felt that way, but had a difference of opinion only after playing a bit of the main game, deciding to give it another chance. Rose's powers and gameplay are never given much time to shine, that when you begin to revel in them, things come to an end. It makes the release price tag hard to justify for it alone. Shadows of Rose is okay, it made me a fan of hers, but I'm left thinking how the sum of the experience could have been something more. There is one obvious thing I haven't touched on, the perspective, the best part of the DLC. I started a fresh playthrough of Village, with the sole intent of illustrating differences between it and first person, but I have forgotten just how fun the game was. In fact, more so now. First has the highest potential for immersion. You're experiencing everything through the eyes of your character. But I actually felt more embedded in the world, in the stakes to rescue our daughter in third. This is Ethan Winters. Early on, we get mentioned that he has received military training after the events of RE7, and man, it shows. The calculated way he executes and reloads. The added benefit of gauging enemy distances relative to us, and his jog that lets us know that he has stamina. I'm impressed how different the experience can feel. Admittedly, part of my enthusiasm is biased, as I knew where to go and what to do. My expectations were also in check by knowing what's coming up, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't reinvigorate the experience for me. That Ethan is now my favorite RE character. The guy is driven. One element that escaped me: would Chris get his own third-person model?
I told you to leave it alone, Ethan.
Yeah, he does.
She thinks he did anything.
Cutscenes transition from third to first to good effect. I don't have any complaint about them not being rendered in the perspective. It works well. If there's any cons, is that to change your viewpoint, you have to go into the main menu, your save reloaded, and you can't play in third person in Mercenaries Additional Orders. With the DLC, we get access to 2 new levels and 3 new characters, with Chris unlocked from the get-go. The other 2, Heisenberg and Lady Dimitrescu, with the former requiring at least an A rank in each stage, and Dimitrescu an S rank in the level Bloody River. The difficulty doesn't matter though. I can see Chris being the new go-to. Not only does he start off with a solid loadout, with the target located for purchase, but he has a meter that once charged allows him to enter a state similar to a Devil Trigger, shooting and moving faster. Along with his now iconic punch, he has a ground stomp and finisher. Heisenberg uses his hammer to either bludgeon or slam down on enemies. Nearby scrap can be gathered to be launched into them, the same with saw blades or grenades he may have. He's also the fastest of the 4. Lady Dimitrescu attacks with her claws. She can summon bugs, and like Chris has a meter that when maxed, one of her daughters. Hold your attack and shield lunge at the enemy for a choke slam. It's fun stuff. I'm sure we're all aware how tall she is, but it feels comical having to crouch into doorways or brush near the ceiling of certain areas. I like it. The 2 new levels themselves are fine, like the others areas from the main game, but they don't take the focus away from the characters running through them. Shadows of Rose is not a bad DLC, but it does leave much to be desired. The poignant moments are there to make Rose's descent into the mutamycete sample worthwhile, but if they had a better balance of actions and puzzles to bridge them, it would make the journey more memorable. Fortunately, the third-person mode compensates a bit, making me view Ethan and Village's entry into the series in a new light. I'm amazed that as an avid fan of FPS, I would end up preferring it too. The new characters for Mercenaries Additional Orders are fun to play as, together with the new mode helping to absorb the release price. It just sucks that the new story, the main draw, didn't make as strong as an impression as I would have hoped. Rose is a great character that I am eager to see in future Resident Evil games. It succeeded in making me a fan, just that I do wish that circumstances were more in her favor, that I didn't have to feel so mixed on how I got the chance. Thanks for watching. I had originally planned to focus on RE2 Remake and RE3 Remake before I got to Village, but with the release of Shadows of Rose I couldn't resist. In fact, for RE2, I have playthroughs for both Claire and Leon recorded already. I was just waiting to record extra modes. Anyway, I want to thank you all for watching. It means a lot to me. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. And or if you found potential in me and what I could produce, please subscribe. Once more, thank you all, and have a good one.